Hey guys, Kinsey here, and I'm back with another episode of Ask Kinszilla, where I answer your questions that you asked via Twitter using the hashtag AskKinszilla. And so the first one here is a question by those guys, and would you ever open any of your sealed games to play them? And the answer is complicated. If it is of course, if it's like a brand new PS4 game, of course I'm going to open it. But there are times where so I pre-ordered Chibi Robo when it first came out. I didn't get around to playing it for a while, and it started to creep up in value. So what I ended up doing was finding it used for really cheap, and so that way I could still play it and enjoy it because, games are meant to be played, but they also shoot up in value, and yeah, it's a whole thing. And another good example of that is I got Dragon Quest VI on the DS, which has definitely shot up in value. And this one I still haven't played because I'm looking for a cheap card of it now so I can at least play it. Because at this point, I don't know, I should just open it, but I can't. And another slightly more sad example of that is I got the Castlevania Double Pack on Game Boy Advance way back when I worked at Game Crazy, and I was noticing that the seal didn't look great. And I had heard that there was problems with people trading in new games that were then resealed and there was no game inside. So people would buy it thinking it was brand new sealed, and then there's no game. And then that just got me all worried because the seal looked really bad and I wasn't sure. And it didn't have, the telltale seam on the back or any of that. So I opened it up, game was in there, everything's new inside, and I was like, I bet it was fine. I bet it was fine. But you know what? Now it's open and I've played it. So I don't know. There's a little bit of give and take when it comes to opening up older sealed games. But you know what? All in all, games are meant to be played. But it's rough. Alright, and next question is by Loki. And what is your favorite beer and game pairing? Well, I actually have a lot, but I'll try to focus on just the one beer that comes to mind. And that is Black Butte Porter. This is by Deschutes Brewing out of Bend, Oregon. I don't know what it is with this beer. I love porters, and this one is just very, very easy drinkable. It's so good, but it's still a dark beer that has a lot of flavor, because sometimes, you do just want to sit around and drink, cheap, low alcohol beer and play games, but something about this Black Butte, it's so good. It's so good. I'm just gonna keep this up here with me. But this is also the go-to beer for Metal Jesus and I when we hang out and play video games. So I'm not the only one who's on the Black Butte Porter track, or Black Butt, I guess. We always call it that because it's funny. But anyways, but something about sitting down with a Black Butte Porter and playing games, like Skyrim, where I'm just, half wandering, half completing story stuff, but, mostly wandering sometimes. It's so fun to just explore. Explore is a much better word than wander. Just, exploring this awesome, huge world and, sipping on a delicious porter. Not much better than that. And then same with, drinking and playing games with friends is always fun. So even things like Divinity. So I played hours of co-op of Divinity Original Sin with my partner, and you better believe I was probably drinking a lot of Black Butte Porter. So this game, so great. And, just sitting around drinking with friends a lot of the time. If, I'm not also having a party to, sample beers or things like that, this is definitely my go-to. And it pairs so well with Skyrim because it's dark and roasty and it's great. Alright, and lastly, last question is by Beth and Jay, and it is, what is your favorite Xbox 360 game? Whew, so this was a little bit of a difficult question because I started pulling games off the shelf and then I was like, whoa, this is too many games. So I was trying to pare it down a little bit. So I have it in two piles now. The first one I'll quickly go through is kind of my favorite Xbox 360 games that are not console exclusive. So that is, of course, BioShock. If you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I really like BioShock. It's just such an immersive game. It's kind of spooky. It's so good. And I've actually done a full video on my love of the BioShock series, so I'll probably link that below as well. And, of course, Dragon Age. Also a game that goes really well with Black Butte Porter. Or a porter in general. This is not paid for by the Deschutes Brewing Black Butte Porter. But it's best to sneak in a sip when we can. And then another game that I think is really underrated, but so good, is Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. This game is from, the mind of R.A. Salvatore and Todd McFarlane, and it's just like so cool, and I just think it's super underrated. And I definitely recommend this for people who really like, big open RPGs, kind of like Skyrim or things like that. Very good. All right, and then my console exclusive suggestions are Beautiful Katamari. I've loved the Katamari series forever. I played, We Heart Katamari, everything. Katamari is wonderful. And something about Beautiful Katamari, I put so much time into it. I actually ruined the control sticks on one of my Xbox 360 controllers with this game. But it's wonderful. The music's great. I don't know what else to say. It's so good. Another console, well, it's also on PC, but the Left 4 Dead series. It's so fun co-op. I played this for so long. The first one I played a lot. The second one I played a lot. I really like the second one a lot because it adds melee weapons, and I'm definitely a melee type person. So if I can walk around hitting, zombies with guitars, deal, win. That's what I want to do. And then lastly, of course, the Orange Box. But mostly with the Orange Box, well, Half-Life is great. Don't get me wrong, Half-Life is fantastic. But this introduced me to Portal, and I love Portal. And Portal 2 is amazing, and I love that the single player and the co-op are, two different games, so you can have two different experiences, and one you can play with a friend. So, I love this game so much. So that's my pared down list of my favorite Xbox 360 games, even though that's still like 6 games. And then, I didn't even talk about, Mass Effect and Fallout. And, of course, I love all those things, too. There's so many awesome games on the Xbox 360. So that was my second episode of Ask Kinszilla. If you want to ask a question, just go on Twitter and use hashtag AskKinszilla. And, of course, you can find me on the internet at Kinszilla, Kinszilla, on Facebook, Instagram, and, of course, Twitter. And thank you so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing. Cheers.